So Cayman, we're looking now. I have a split screen. I think you're seeing what I'm seeing. I've got an Ubuntu terminal window. I'm probably going to see if I can increase that text size so it's more readable. This one. Anytime I'm live is when I realize how many things I have to figure out, like how many things I Google. Okay, great. And so I have started by installing just a bunch of dependencies. So I have curl, build essential, Git, GCC, G++, and make. I don't know if all of those are required. Do you see any right off the bat that you
are
wouldn't
not
use?
required, or
Yeah.
I don't think screen is necessary, but I mean,
Yeah, and that's just my personal preference to save my sessions. So we'll just go ahead and. So I'm not familiar with Node. I did like a 2-day tutorial for it once, and obviously forgot everything since then. But using Node Version Manager made it much easier to get the right version of Node up.
yeah, I would definitely point people there. And Node Version Manager, NVM. That's what we use as a team to try out different versions, and makes it as simple as like NVM install version number and then NVM use version number.
And so really all that's required, because my first go at this, I was using 15-year-old hardware because it was the only spare box that I had used, and I'd filled up all my other machines with VMs, and it wouldn't compile. And the moment I came to a modern architecture machine, all I had to do was install Yarn, install Node with NVM, git clone and make, and it came right up. Which is funny because I spent like 2 days.
Oh no.
On old hardware.
Wow. So you got stuck on like just installing Node, or?
No, well, so I thought that it was a compile error because I hadn't seen Lodestar run before. And so it would compile, and I didn't see problems there. But then when I would launch, it would give me error 132, which I had no idea what that was. And so, yeah, and there was no reference to it. There's barely any reference to it. And so I'm like, I just,
mysterious.
It was frustrating. Yeah. So, but it was using literally like a 12-year-old processor. And so when I tried the same thing using, some 8th and 9th generation Intel processors, it was seamless. So I did have a couple days of learning what does and doesn't work. So these dependencies are installing a little more slowly than I expected. So what is the current status of? So I guess you're squashing bugs. I know that that peers are an issue. Is that what you think is the big stopper right now?
Yeah, I'd say like the biggest stopper is definitely the peering. So it might have been you shared a tweet, or I saw a tweet recently where someone was like, "Oh, I have all of the clients running on ETH2 stats," and
Yeah.
I see Lodestar at the bottom, and it's like all the other peers are like 50 peers, 40 peers, 60 peers. Lodestar 2 peers.
Yeah. Hey, but I got it. I was delighted to have it. It was a big I think I wrote. Oh, it was going to be Lodestar or Lie Trying was my. I was very proud of that.
Right. So we end up having like very few peers, and then if a peer who's actually sending us the gossip disconnects, then we fall behind.
Okay.
That's like, one really big issue. And so I don't know that I know that we haven't been able to actually propose a block on Madasha yet using Lodestar, but I'd be really curious to know if anyone else has actually
Well, there was a
done
tweet.
that.
There was a tweet a few weeks ago, because I hang out with the guys, with Patricio Worthalter, who runs the Poet program, and there was a tweet from a fellow who showed that he had proposed a block with Lodestar, but he had also the same proposer had also proposed blocks for many other clients, and so because it's just filling the graffiti slot, it's easy to.
Mm-hmm. You
It's
think
easy
maybe
to.
he cheated, or did a little,
I mean,
whatever you want to call it?
yeah. I mean, I don't consider it cheating. I don't want to assassinate his character. I don't know what he actually did, but
Right.
I don't know. It would be interesting to see. So there's this talk about the client fingerprint, which, yeah, I don't know. Maybe the key is just to throw enough validators at it. Like if.
Right. So we were running 1,024 validators of Lodestar at launch,
Uh-huh.
and it it didn't actually work too well. We fixed a lot of bugs since then, but basically our validators, or we weren't getting the gossip, or I think we had a bug in our gossip validation, and so we weren't actually progressing the chain. And then our validators were like spamming our beacon nodes, trying to get data that wasn't there. And then our beacon nodes ended up running out of memory and just exploding.
I feel like I remember a few tense moments.
Yeah. But now might be a good time to try that back out, at least with a few validators.
It would be a great claim to fame to be the first user or developer to propose a block with Lodestar. I'm a little surprised that. So I have 6 cores on an i7-9700 running on this virtual machine. I'm surprised that it's taking so long to get anything done. I also have it. I don't think my local network is saturated, but I think just a lot of instances running of Geth and girly Geth and validators. So maybe it's slowing the network down. Well, no, this has been stuck on the actual install itself for about 5 minutes.
99% done.
It's going to zip back. Remember how Windows used to, it would have the status bar. It would be like 99 and then it'd start all the way back over or take you back to 40 and then zip up again. What's the point? So how did you get into Lodestar? Is there a backstory?
I've just been like an Ethereum enthusiast for a long time, and I guess maybe like it was like a year and a half ago. There's some I don't know, ETH2 kind of was in the news again, the crypto news, and I just kind of thought hey, I need to step up and start contributing in some way. And so I just kind of scanned for different projects that were out there, and I saw Lodestar and started contributing.
Cool.
And it actually, I think right now, all of our full-time team all basically have a very similar story. We just kind of all came from this open source kind of community. We all just started contributing code and, are now part of the team. So yeah, we're grant funded, and we definitely, pay our contributors who help out. So.
Yeah, and I've spoken with a lot of the development teams. That seems to be the common just have an interest, start building something and get the grant. So it's a great model. I'm really delighted that we could have 5 or about 5, 3 to 6 clients in the Genesis block, which that's just fantastic. So for anybody who's watching, what I just did, let me refresh these commands. So after I just installed dependencies, I got the Yarn public key. I added the Yarn package to my package manager, and I updated it and then installed Yarn from the package manager. So I'm going to check Yarn version.
Yeah, Yarn is like an alternative to NPM node package manager.
Yeah, okay. So now I'm going to pull node version manager. I'm actually pulling from my notes off screen. Okay, and I'm going to, I don't need all that. Set the local variables. And so I should be able to, oh, that's node version manager version. That's not. So I can now use node version manager to install version 12.3 of Node. And this is something I picked up from Discord. I don't know what it does, but gosh, it just looked cool. And so, great. I have Node version 12.13, which is the required. What? Okay. I'm going to confess my naivety. The difference between Node and Node.js.
There is no difference. I think they're just, maybe the Ubuntu by default has something called Node.js, which is
that's what I
version
thought.
10.
Okay.
But version 12 is the current LTS, long-term support version of Node. So I guess they're just behind on it.
I remembered aliasing them back and forth at one, not for this project, back in the past, and yeah. All right, so I've cloned Lodestar, and let's see what I have here. Yarn install, ignore optional. What's the ignore optional?
You really want to do that.
Okay.
So if you don't ignore, Yarn install will install all of the node dependencies.
Okay.
And ignore optional ignores these optional dependencies. And the big one is the ETH2 spec tests, which is a whole suite of tests that kind of prove that you can pass consensus rules. And it's like, I don't know, 2 gigabytes large. And so it just adds a lot of bloat.
Got it. I'm thinking about, I always like to, so whenever I have a guest, and thank you, by the way, for making time tonight, I have the sequence of begin the call, get comfortable with the guest, make sure we're gonna click OK, and then, okay, are you ready to record? I'm ready to record. And then we record, and I'm reflecting back on this call. I don't really even know where it started. Maybe with the audio difficulty. I was discussing my friend Contra for quite a while, so. Hey, Patrick.
Thanks for the bug reports, Contra.
He's doing the Lord's work. So I'm in Tennessee. Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Texas.
Okay. Lodestar. That's Lone Star. Yeah, great.
Hey, yeah. It actually wasn't called that because of Texas at all. I don't know where the name Lodestar came from, but it is
It's a
close to Lone
nice
Star.
a nice coincidence.
Hmm.
So I know that Node JIP and script are two dependencies that I always struggled with, and I think those were. So I guess I know they've been left out of the most recent versions of, or maybe they're rolled into or left out. I'm not. They're not individual packages anymore. Um, but that was where I kept getting hung on my original builds. And
Hmm. So yeah, we do have a few packages that maybe would use that. So like, I think Node.jip is used to build native libraries with like
mhm.
Node wrappers. So we've got some like crypto libraries that use native code, but we're really trying to move to like have just use like WASM for our native-ish code, because WebAssembly is really cool, um, and you can get pretty fast, pretty performant results with it, and it would work, on in Node and also in the browser. So that's really great.
What? So I hear a lot about WebAssembly from the developer calls. How does it apply to desktop building?
Right. So maybe you're hearing about WebAssembly from like an Ethereum call, you're saying, or
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, it's kind of separate from how we're using it, but people are wanting to more or less replace the EVM with uh, some something that looks a lot like WebAssembly with some extensions. Um, and WebAssembly is just a standard for, um, I guess, some kind of machine. And so there's like just machine code it's written in WebAssembly, and different languages can kind of compile into this WebAssembly, and all the modern browsers support running WebAssembly code. And so it's kind of just like a convenient standard for people to gather around, and
Okay.
um, and so you can write code in other languages and then run it in the browser or run it in Node.js and get maybe more performant results than if you just wrote it in pure JavaScript.
I've heard so much about the value of WASM code. I just don't. I haven't, as much as I've heard about it. I don't actually know the application of it. I guess is where I get hung up. I know like um, it's a better virtual machine, a plug-in virtual machine for Ethereum, but I guess I just get lost in the understanding. So, yeah. So yarn run build looks like.
It looks like we've actually built. So
Yeah.
maybe we didn't. Maybe we don't actually need this yarn run build. I think we might
Oh, I'm sorry.
we might already trigger it behind the scenes. So,
I was not aware of that.
but it looks like our installation page could be updated to suit. But
So while we're doing, well, I don't want to cancel it midstream. Let me show you what I'm using to launch it and see. Let me make that a little larger.
it looks good to me.
Okay. Again, most of this is just stuff that I've scraped without actually knowing. Well, so yarn run CLI beacon, testnets Madasha, ETH1 is enabled. So there was a recommendation to disable ETH1.
So
Well,
it depends on what you're
I actually disabled at the beginning of this call. I disabled Geth on this machine, so it's not running right now. Is that did I just do the right thing?
That's fine. It's
Okay.
so if you're running a validator, you need to be running an ETH1 node so that you can add the latest
Okay.
ETH1 hash into your block. But
I'm gonna go ahead and start that back in the background then.
okay.
Okay. And I'm going to recopy this string. Looks right to me. I am a huge fan of ETH2 stats. I don't know how you feel about that, but it is one of my favorite places to monitor my beacon chain.
I'm sad to say I actually haven't used it myself.
So I've been addicted to it. Well, so I did Olympic mining with ETH1, and there was an interface very similar to ETH2 stats. And I just love the view. So one of the things I plan to do before we end here is get us listed there. Okay. Oh, I should have actually. Would you, many people run these as a service. I like running them as a detached screen just because it's more simple for me.
Oh my. So we might have like stopped the node in like a weird spot there.
Oh, when I just, okay.
Yeah. If you can,
So,
you can maybe just remove that dot Madasha directory.
I'm sorry, where's that directory at?
Should be just in your current working directory. So right now by default we're storing things in the current working directory where Lodestar's run. I think when it becomes more stable, we're gonna move it to like a more central place, maybe using like XDG standard.
And yeah, so we should clarify there was nothing wrong with the builder install. I just, I wanted to switch into a screen, so I force killed it. And as you said, it was an inopportune time for the program. And I removed the Madasha directory. Okay, failed to get. Well, so we are running.
We're running. We got one peer.
One is all you need, right? So let's take a hop over to ETH2 stats. And I believe, so Sea Monkey, he's on your team, right?
He's not on our team.
Oh, okay, well, he has a fantastic node going. So he's just very knowledgeable. I'm not sure I've spoken with him, but I've seen him demonstrate deep knowledge. I don't know him. This August X person has been very successful at running nodes. They have 2 peers. So there are 2 Lodestar nodes running on ETH2 stats. Let's see if we can put a third one up. So we'll modify that. Let me, okay, so I have Docker installed already. Because it requires a restart, I did it before the call. And the metrics port is going to be,
That's 5,000.
5,000. Yeah. Let me cut this. I happen to know that V1 is the beacon type for Lodestar after way too much time of trying to figure out.
That's a little strange.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so beacon address is 9596. Does that sound right? And then the metrics is 5,000. Okay, and this took me a while to figure out. If this works, okay, let me go get Docker. That should just take a second.
One thing I noticed, it looked like the beacon chain was not healthy over on that other tab.
Yeah, I covered it up, so I was like, maybe it will, maybe it'll make some progress.
No, it's so some of those like we do output a lot more errors than we probably could or should for, you know, for someone's blood pressure. But what I was seeing was that it was like fetching blocks way too far in the future, considering where it is. You know, starting from 0, it was looking like it was fetching something far from 0.
What do you think we should do? Should we?
I think you can just close it out and restart it. That might be.
Should I remove the Medasha directory again?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Okay.
I don't think we even synced any blocks, so.
She's still alive. Okay, it's still running.
Wow, it really doesn't want to die.
All right, we killed it. Okay. And let's. Okay, and while that it may not have actually been killed completely the first time, it's resilient. It wants to be alive. So let's try and run this again. Make sure I'm still on my screen. All right. All right. Well, this has been fun, if nothing else.
Yeah, it is fun.
I mean, it's easy for people to want this to work more quickly without recognizing the ton and ton of time and years of work that go into making it happen. Like, people walk in now and expect a perfectly working client, and it's just not time yet. We're getting there. Everybody's getting there.
Right. So like I would say until recently, we've not been focusing a lot on our client. So we've really been focusing on like thinking about Lodestar as a software ecosystem of like TypeScript or JavaScript tooling. And so we have a lot of different, I'd say we have 25-ish different JavaScript libraries that we've been working on polishing. And recently, you kind of have to put all those Lego pieces together and then with a bunch more glue on top. And that's how you make a client, or that's how we've been making a client. And so this very top level, putting all the Legos together, it's not, things aren't all smooth yet. So.
Well, we are listed on ETH2 Stats, Superfizz, and Cayman.
Hey,
We
it's
have
syncing.
6 peers, and we're syncing. I don't know all the politics behind ETH2 Stats. I've read a little bit about it, but it is just one of my favorite tools, and I hope it gets lots of love in the future. Oops, I had to shut down Teku. It was a virtual machine on this computer, so I took it off. Oh wow, 14 peers. That's it looks like things are actually going pretty well.
Yeah, this is, don't want to say surprising, but it's, things are looking good.
Yeah. Well, do we want to import a key? Well, no, we'd have to wait till we're completely synced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can import the key and just go through that whole process and just not start the validator if you want to.
Sure. Is the validator a separate process? I don't recall.
Yeah, we've got a separate CLI command for it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've done this a few times, but when I'm playing with all 6 and I'm not the brightest guy in the world, okay. Let me send a key here. We got 2.15. I don't have. It's going to take 3 days to install OpenSSH server. I was joking. I thought I was joking. So it is, yeah. I'm glad we're holding on to peers. I may just leave this install running.
What is that column right next to the 15? The 0.
Attestations.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, and that's not proposed. I think that's queued.
Okay. I don't think that
I'm sorry. I said proposed. Those are not submitted attestations. They are attestations that are queued to be submitted, I believe.
Gotcha. I don't believe we have those fed through our metrics yet. So,
and that's not uncommon.
Yeah.
Let's see. What on earth? Oh, I know. It's because all the processing is going to Lodestar. That doesn't show me what I want to see. I want to see process load. Node. Yeah, it's between Geth and Node. Well, we're going to get there.
Yeah, I find that syncing is a lot more intensive than once you're already synced. because what we're trying to do is you're trying to keep the CPU processing blocks as much as possible, because there's blocks to process, and then once you get to the head of the chain, there's not really as many potential blocks to be processing, so it's, it really drops down after that.
Yes, yes. So there we go. Run a validator. Okay, so I think I've actually only launched a validator once on Lodestar. I've built a few times, but I haven't gotten synced many times. And we're doing great on peers.
Wow.
I said that and then
Hey.
I lost one.
Don't talk about the peers.
I know. These peers are terrible. Hey, see, these peers are the worst ever. I don't really believe in voodoo, but okay. So we have that running. Let's see if I can send a key in. Okay. Ah, I'm prepped. Okay. That was going to be Teku. Let's just create one with Launchpad. I just read really fast.
Okay, I'm glad you're reading all these risks and actively saying you understand.
So I need to get the executable, right? And this is one of those things I think new users feel overwhelmed by. Get pool. Oh, no. Yeah, I am. I just get. Could have curled it.
Once you drop into the command line, like how that.
Yeah, the back and forth. And I guess there was some discussion about making it all browser based, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. We have tooling that can do that. That's one of the Legos we've built.
All right, so now I can do this. Okay, so now let's go back to where does this key store need to be? Where do the validator keys need to go?
You can give it a directory to look in,
okay,
and it will look there.
Does it import them or does it read that directory every launch?
It will import them.
Okay.
Right now, it copies the keys and gives you a warning like, do not use these keys anywhere else. We're thinking about just moving them in direct entirely, so you don't even have a chance to run the validator, use those keys somewhere else.
So I know it's terrible, but and again, a lot of the things I say show my naivety, and I understand that. I like to be able to pull the keys in and out, as in, at least during testing, I like to add keys at runtime, or not, before runtime, and then kill it, remove the keys, and run it again. But I know that during LiveNet, mainnet, we're not going to be moving keys around so haphazardly.
Yeah. We actually have a separate command that you need to run first to actually import those keys.
Okay.
It's yarn run CLI. I think account. Maybe we can go to our help page. I think we have a page about this.
Am I?
if you go to our the little 3 lines in the corner, key management, I believe.
Look at that. Okay.
That's creating a wallet. So you can create, keys using Lodestar, and then import validator key store. Here we go. Oh, it's a long, nasty name.
Yep, let's just... Couldn't find a package JSON file in Superfizz.
Are you in the top level directory of
oh, you know what?
Lodestar?
Yeah, nope, I'm not. That's why I did it wrong. That's where I need to be. And let's do this, sorry. Great call. Thank you. There's my big warning. We've imported a validator. And there's a test for them. All right. I need to submit the deposit, and help me through here because I'm very new. Where do I get the transaction data?
Okay.
Oh, do you know what? I can do that. I can get it from Launchpad. I can still finish through Launchpad here. If you feel like that's okay, unless you have a better way.
Yeah, that's probably a better way.
Okay. Wait, Launchpad is better, or
so do you get an RLP, the RLP data?
This is using this. It's all hidden. Well, so, and I've done this a couple times. So I'm just gonna. It will take me to import this JSON file. And it will trigger the transaction for me in MetaMask without having to without having to paste the data in.
That's probably better. So when we create a validator using Lodestar, we store additional deposit metadata so that we can, and I think it might be a little more difficult to take the data that you're getting from here and put that in Lodestar. We're not currently like creating that deposit data. That'd be a really nice addition though.
Okay, so this is going to put us in the queue. Well, and now we're going to be stuck in the validator activation queue anyway.
Yeah.
For 30, actually, I think it's about 3 days right now. But we could start the validator anyway, as if it were waiting. Right?
Right. I believe so that's currently another area where our clients currently not, we need a lot of work, is just the validator beacon node interaction. Right now the validator is able to like hang up the beacon node and ask for data even when it's not synced, or
yeah, I observed a little bit of that.
Do things like that.
So so we should not launch the validator until, is that what you're suggesting? I'm sorry, I was.
Yeah. I think it might mess up our sync.
Okay.
Mess up our terrible
Our beautiful feedback. Yes, I mean our yes. Oh, see, I said beautiful. All right. Well, it's been fun. I had a good time uh, seeing some of the similarities and differences between Lodestar and the other clients. I think this will be very informative for people who are just getting their feet wet with Lodestar. Um,
Awesome. And yeah, anyone, any additional questions, come onto our Discord. We'll, answer everything.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time, Cayman.
Yeah. Thank you, Fizz.
All right. We'll be in touch.
All righty. Peace.
Bye-bye.